Hi, everyone. I'm Matt from Stand for Better. 25 Republican senators blocked health care for our veterans when they shot down the PACT Act last Wednesday. The folks at Burn Pits 360 advocate for this legislation and have been holding rallies at Capitol Hill. They've also been out there nightly with our vets protesting this absolutely ridiculous political theater. On Sunday night, I was honored to interview Minnesota State Advocate for Burn Pits 360, Amanda Barbosa, to find out more. All right, please welcome the Minnesota State Advocate for Burn Pits 360, Amanda Barbosa. Amanda, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me today.
No, you're very welcome. So how are things at the Capitol tonight?
Good. Well, it just stopped raining, so that's always a good improvement. It's been beautiful weather, but it's nice that it stopped. It rained for a bit, but then some very kind people brought us towels and what else do we need? Umbrellas and everything we needed. So.
Of course, of course. Okay, so for the people out there that have no idea what the PACT Act is, tell us about the PACT Act.
Sure. Yeah, the PACT Act is a comprehensive act that would, once it's enacted, it'll provide presumptive conditions coverage for global war on terror veterans, which it also covers toxic exposures of Vietnam with Agent Orange, as well as toxic exposures at Camp Lejeune, the drinking water in the 80s. So it's very comprehensive, and it covers the large part with the global war on terror adds 26 new presumptive conditions to the list of what the VA covers, and it would allow the burden to shift from the veteran having to prove that the cancer came from the burn pit exposure to the VA presuming that it comes from the burn pit exposure, which is really important because right now soldiers have to spend a lot of time, or I always say soldiers, but veterans have to spend a lot of time fighting with the VA to try and prove that a cancer that they have came from a burn pit or whatever the case may be.
Okay, so let me ask you, what exactly is a burn pit?
Sure. Yeah, burn pits were used throughout the global war on terror in Iraq and Afghanistan, where else do they have them? Iraq, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan. They're used in Africa still today, and so what they essentially are is when the military came there was nowhere to take the trash. You couldn't just use the Iraqi trash service or whatever they had used, so everything was put into a big pile. Jet fuel was poured on top of it, and it was burned. Some of the burn pits were as large as 20 acres, and they burned everything from um, human waste to trash, millions of plastic bottles, vehicles, old blown up aircraft, even body parts, computer chips, old technology. As you can see, there are a lot of plastics and dioxins and things that were burning in it that make it pretty similar to exposures of 9/11 first responders. Actually, is kind of a similar cohort where we're seeing the same types of cancers and those things presenting now.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I mean, it completely boggles my mind why we even need to be having this conversation right now. I mean, this just seems so black and white. It doesn't matter if you're left or right. It just, you got to take care of the veterans. They made a commitment to do what they were, to complete their mission, do what they were told, protect our country. And I feel like all of a sudden people in Congress are turning their backs on them. So Amanda, what can people do to help? And then secondly, how can we find out more about your organization? Where can we find you? What's your website, Twitter? What can everyone do to help you spread your message?
Right. Well, the most important thing right now is we want to put pressure on those 25 senators to let them know that they're changing their vote like that was not acceptable, and it's at the expense of veteran lives. And if they continue to delay, it's going to cost more lives. So call your senators, tell them that they need to pass the PACT Act immediately, and that this is not acceptable to hold veterans' lives in limbo for partisan politics. At the end of the day, it's very simple. There was no pork or anything added to the bill between the June vote and the vote on Wednesday. The bill has spending related to veterans only. The only change between the bill that 84 senators agreed to in June and what 25 of them changed their votes to be no to on Wednesday was the removal of a single sentence related to tax benefits for rural VA doctors. So apparently everybody's
Wow.
very concerned about
Okay.
these rural VA doctors, which a valid point, but it is at the expense of 3.5 million veterans who are dying, who are sick, who are fighting with the VA to get coverage for the most basic things.
Okay, Amanda, thank you very much for your service, and certainly thank you for your husband's service, and thank you for fighting what is really, I mean, this is a no-brainer. There's no reason that that the PACT Act should not pass. We owe, it's the minimum we can do for our servicemen and women that have served our country. So anyway, Amanda, thank you for joining us. Good luck tonight. Hopefully no more rain, and I hope you can find some sleep here and there.
Yes, we'll hope for some dry night.
That's right. Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, for your time and for fighting for our vets. Folks, this is absolutely super important. Chuck Schumer just said that he expects to hold a vote today at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tweet your support for this legislation using the hashtag #HelpBurnPittVets. And more importantly, give your senator a call demanding that they support this legislation. Do this today.
Stand for Better is responsible for the content of this advertising.